Big game, isn't it? Very, very big game. United versus City. We spoke about City a bit earlier. City flying right now. Well, it feels like that anyway. Making good signings. Semenyo has landed and he's doing very, very well. Gahey, I think, will do very well as well. I asked you before the break. I know the answer to this question now. How many managers, including caretaker managers, have Manchester United had since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club?
I mean, without trying to work it out, I'd go 10.
12.
Is it
12 in 12 years?
I know.
An average of one a season.
Who do you think's been the best? Mourinho. It's got to be.
Yeah, Mourinho or Van Gaal.
Solskjaer.
Mourinho. Oh no.
Solskjaer.
Ten Hag's won 2 trophies.
Ten Hag won 2.
Won 2 trophies.
Ten Hag won 2 trophies. Solskjaer was the only manager though to have them in top 4 back-to-back seasons.
Yeah. Mourinho got them third, and he said how bad it wasn't.
Second.
Second.
He got them to second. He said it was the biggest
thing he's ever done.
But also, it's important.
And that was a good Mourinho as well.
Yeah, it was good Mourinho. It's important to remember that Mourinho also, like, people seem to just disregard this as if it didn't happen. Manchester United went to Stockholm and they won a European trophy. They beat Ajax in the final of a European trophy.
It's almost forgotten that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You beat Ajax in a final of a European trophy and people say it was a bad season.
You know why, though? Because back then they were a Champions League team.
Yeah, Pogba scored in that final.
Yeah, so it's almost like, well, we won the Europa League. Like, no one really cared too much. Was Michael Carrick in that squad?
Yeah, he would have been.
Would have been in that squad, maybe, right? This is his second stint as a caretaker manager, but this time it's a bit different. He's now interim head coach until the end of the season. Would you make of that appointment?
I think ultimately it's probably quite a good one, and let me tell you why I don't think it's.
I'm going to let you
right? Because I think a lot of people have been.
Interrupt you. Go.
The reason, Addy, is because I think a lot of people are quite negative about it, and I think if there is a succession plan to Michael Carrick, so if Ineos, and let's face it, this is where the problem comes in, because everything that Ineos have done since they took over that club has basically been wrong. They've made a pig's ear of the job. Everybody was talking about how the Glazers were destroying the club from the inside out. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the Mancunian saviour, came into the club and he has got it so wrong. Everything that he has done at the club has been disgraceful, culminating in England's richest man, a tax exile, trying to force the government to build him a stadium up north. Like, it was just atrocious. Build your own stadium. It's a private club. Build your own stadium.
Mental, isn't it?
But they were sacking the wrong
Wembley
people.
of the North.
They were sacking the wrong people. It was atrocious what's happened. But the reason why I think that the Carrick appointment in its own right isn't a terrible one is because what Manchester United need is some healing power. They need a unifying force. They need someone to come in and make sure that the Stretford end is singing in unison. They need someone to come in to make sure that the disparity between the fans and the club and the owners and the sporting directors and the sporting directors and the manager, it's all broken. What Michael Carrick will do, Michael Carrick is a representation of what Manchester United should be. He's a representation of who Manchester United are.
Why do we still keep doing that?
Because it is correct.
What? Yeah, but that's a time like in the past. That's when I had hair. That's a long time ago.
I know, but you're allowed to. Arsenal Football Club haven't won a Premier League title for 22 years.
Yeah.
But you know when David Rocastle made that famous quote where he said, "Remember what the shirt on your badge represents." That matters, right? So Arsenal haven't won a league for over 2 decades. Yeah. But what Arsenal Football Club represents is an institution of title winners. Yeah, it's an institution that should be demanding excellence from the top down. It's an institution that should be doing everything they can to win the league. They haven't won the league. But David Rocastle told us what the institution represents. Okay. You can extend from that to Manchester United. Manchester United, over the years, it's not only Sir Alex Ferguson, but for our generation it is. It's obviously started way back. But if you think about what we know of Manchester United, an incredibly resilient club. You think about what happened to them in 1958. You think about winning the European Cup a decade later. You think about everything that club are. And then you think about the true era of dominance that happened under Sir Alex Ferguson. Genuine, actual, total dominance. Like Ryan Giggs. Use him as an example. Ryan Giggs himself has won 13 league titles. Paul Scholes won 11. I think they are completely correct to hark back to what they are and what they represent.
Yeah, but that's not what they are now.
It is. Well,
it's not what they are.
That's what the standards should be. The standards should be Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, and then beyond, and then back beyond that down to Sir Matt Busby's era.
I think this might be the issue. And look, I'm not going to defend Ruben Amorim, but they're 7th in the league.
Why?
I think there are some United fans of maybe our age who, as you say, grew up, in the late 90s, early 2000s, when United just won everything. that still think that United are capable of that. I think 7th's actually an achievement. I look at that squad of players. You look at that squad. How many of those players get in the City or Arsenal or even the Liverpool team?
The question that you're rhetorically answering doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
It does.
It doesn't matter.
You can only do it with what you've got on the pitch.
Manchester United as an institution should be competing for the league. Manchester United as an institution should be aiming for league titles and European Cups. That should be the ambition. And the reason that should be the ambition is because they're arguably the biggest club in the country. They're actually arguably, on some definition, the biggest club in Europe. A lot of people would argue Real Madrid, but Manchester United as a powerful institution, it is significant. And it's atrocious. And the reason that this has happened is because of mismanagement from the top down. This all filters from the top. The problems at Manchester United start at the very top. And what Michael Carrick will represent is a previous era. If you are a Manchester United player...
The issue. Ollie, they said the same thing about Ollie.
Yeah, and he does
do that. Exactly the same thing about Ollie. Ollie's going to do this, and he did nothing.
Michael Carrick represents Manchester United. Like, you could argue...
But that doesn't necessarily mean it will change fortunes on the pitch. Didn't with Ollie. It did for a little while, and then that collapsed as well.
Two things it will do, guaranteed. It should. What it will definitely do is it will unify the stadium. The Stretford end will be singing "It's Carrick, you know," and all that, right? So they're going to be totally on board. They're not going to be bothering
for a few games until it goes bad.
So the fans will back Carrick.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed.
Yeah.
The other thing that Carrick should do is, the players in that squad, they should be looking at Michael Carrick and thinking that he is a representation of what they should be doing. When you sign for Manchester United, you are signing because you believe, presumably, that you can take them back to the glory days. The reason why Brian Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha, Mason Mount wanted to play for Manchester United is because they wanted to follow in the footsteps of Eric Cantona, Mark Hughes, Brian McClare. They wanted to be that new generation of Manchester United players. Carrick is that.
Do you generally think that? Do you think that Mbeumo thinks that? And Cunha and Seshko?
Yeah, I do. Do you think that's wrong?
Of course, they don't think that about United anymore.
You don't think that Mason Mount, when Mason Mount,
yes.
Mason Mount would have thought about Paul Ince or Paul Scholes.
Because he's grown up in the country, of course. Absolutely.
Matheus Cunha would have obviously thought, I'm following in the footsteps of Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm following in the footsteps of Eric Cantona. I'm following in the footsteps of whatever icon you want to put in that Manchester United shirt. That's the point of the famous number 7 Man United shirt, isn't it? So Carrick, firstly, will inspire the crowd. Secondly, should inspire the players. All he has to do, and I don't think this is beyond him, all he has to do is finish 5th. That's it. Then he parts ways. No matter how well it goes, obviously the interim doesn't get the job. They will not make that mistake again. And then they have to do the obvious. It's so obvious what Manchester United need.
Glasner.
No!
Who?
No, not Glasner, for crying out loud.
How obvious is it? Who?
I don't care who, as long as they are elite. So, for example, you could argue Thomas Tuchel, you could argue Carlo Ancelotti, you could argue Antonio Conte. Whoever you believe is the right fit, I don't really care. They've
done that before.
Yeah, that's what they need to get. Simply because it didn't go so well with Mourinho, which we've, by the way, just agreed that it did. With hindsight, it did.
Do you think one of United's biggest problems is that they've got ex-players that are so vocal and so well known who seem to control the narrative?
Why is that a bad thing?
I'm saying, no, is it?
No, but why? Okay, to put the case.
I just wonder if it heaps pressure on the players and the manager when you've got people overlooking you, like Keane, who massive.
Do you watch the? We're talking about the overlap
religiously. No, I'm not just talking about overlap. I'm talking about even Rio Ferdinand. I'm talking about they've got so no club in this country has more ex-players as pundits than Manchester United. But big ones as well. And I just wonder if that noise. Like Gary Neville seems to say anything, and it seems to seep through to players.
When Gary Neville talks about Manchester United, people should listen. Gary Neville knows that culture of that club. Gary Neville knows exactly who Manchester United are. Gary Neville understands the rivalry.
You keep saying, were.
No, are.
No, were.
No, they're not.
No, were. You can't not have one for so long.
The institution's the same. The first 11 epoxy. It's the first 11 at epoxy. The institution's the same. You got dreadful people making big decisions. Dreadful. The worst, right? And it's just been pitiful from the top. And then you've got some very uninspiring footballers. Really bad footballers, if we're honest, right? For that club. Benjamin Sesko leading the line for Manchester United. What a joke. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? Benjamin Sesko. You've got a club that prides itself on what Dennis Law once did and what George Best once did. And then more recently, prides itself on what Eric Cantona did. Prides itself on what the Premier League's greatest player ever, Wayne Rooney, did. Benjamin Sesko. But that comes from above, doesn't it? That comes from the very top. So that needs to stop. But ultimately, for Manchester United to get back to where they once belonged And I think that when Roy Keane speaks, you should listen. When Gary Neville speaks, you should listen. For them to get back to the top, let Michael Carrick now try and harmonise, just make sure that it's okay, and then let Thomas Tuchel take the reins. It's that simple, surely.
Surely, if Thomas Tuchel comes in, all of a sudden they go back to the top.